You're reading that right. An investment firm involved in Ubisoft has said that the company needs to be taken public because it is being held hostage by the Gilman brothers, the family that owns Ubisoft, and Tencent, who are just taking advantage of the investors themselves. This is AJ Investments that was started by Jiraj Kupra, and he has correctly pointed out that Ubisoft isn't doing so hot right now. This is in euros. This is provided to us from a European user. And this is in euros for reference to what this company, this in particular, this investment firm is addressing with the Ubisoft home office, which is in France. Okay, so this is why it's in euros. And so this, what we're looking at here is down 50%, 50.8%, mind you, might as well be 51% in 1 year. We're looking at a year, not a decade, not 5 years, a whole year. And Ubisoft has stocked into where Google, right, has stock dropped into where Google is saying, uh-oh, and decided to turn it red. I don't know what happens when you go like beyond the uh-oh stage. Does it go like purple or something like that? Does it just start flashing? You know, abort, abort, abort. Does it start flashing? I don't know. But pull up, you know, like the flight simulators, pull up, pull up. And, well, this is what AJ Investments has put forward as an effort to pull up on these stocks, in fact, because, boy, howdy, as of September 10th, these aren't looking too hot. These aren't looking too hot. If I was an Ubisoft investor, I would be jumping out immediately because this has every tantamount, every example of being a sinking ship. I'll remind you that this right here, I think this roughly translates to $14 in the US, some cents. I think that's how that breaks down, which means Ubisoft has been 10 years getting back to this price, right? So they skyrocketed during 2021, right? Because we all, 20 and 2021 were the pandemic lockdown, that sort of thing. So everybody was consuming this kind of media. So they made a lot of money, right? Well, that immediately dropped off, apparently. But back in 2014, they were around this price right here. Where am I pointing? Right here. They were around that price right here. And so I think, I don't know, I think that's bad, right? When you return to a stock price you were at 10 years ago. I don't know, when you fall back to that, I guess. But this is what Jiraj had to say about it, okay? And so, he explains how it should be not down at 13 euros. It should be up at more 40, 45 euros when you consider really what Ubisoft is in this market. This isn't an indie dev company like they try to spin themselves up to be. They're a landmark, really. They're huge in this market, considering they've also been around, I would say, since the mid-90s. I want to say since Ubisoft showed up. Might be a little earlier than that even. And they've given us games like Rainbow Six, the Tom Clancy stuff. And so what are they doing out here? Assassin's Creed even. We do videos about Assassin's Creed all the time on this channel. People like that franchise, and yet they're sinking it as fast as they can. And this is what Jiraj is talking about. He says, the main reason why the valuation is so low compared to the peers is that Ubisoft at current state is mismanaged and shareholders are hostages of the Gilman brothers. The Gilman family members, and Tencent, the Chinese entertainment tech firm, it's basically in just about everything these days, who take advantage of them. Management is focused on pleasing investors with beating quarterly results and not focusing on long-term strategy to provide exceptional experience for the gamers. All right. Okay. Consider this. Why are you making games if you are not in it to entertain gamers? I mean, it just seems like a really simple question to you and me, right? Like you and I out here in the regular world where we got to go to work every day, do our thing, put in our hours, pay our taxes, make sure we don't get shot and our cats don't get eaten, that kind of thing, right? These people clearly don't deal with that because they're not thinking about entertaining the gamer. They're not entertaining their target, the whole reason why they have a job. Look at what happened with Concord. Look at what happened with Star Wars Outlaws, right here in Ubisoft's own backyard, right here on their own property, what they themselves created. That game has dropped over 10% in just the first week it's been out. It's amazing. Like, they can't win. They can't win, and they're finally learning it. Well, they're finally unable to hide it. Let's put it that way. They're finally unable to hide it. He goes on to say a little bit more here about what venerates AJ Investments. They were with Activision and Blizzard and were ones that kind of pushed them back into compliance with, being a company you can rely on for entertaining stuff. And we got Overwatch 2 out of that effort, apparently. I wouldn't say that AJ Investments are the central pushing force with how Activision and Blizzard kind of got their act together. But I would say that they held enough gravitas in that to now bring to the table of Ubisoft this edict that they're demanding. They're no longer asking anymore. So here we go. This is what AJ Investments wants out of Ubisoft. Now, I'll remind you, they are an investor in Ubisoft, so they have every right to set this down on the table and explain to them how this is going to go. So here we have it. They want to take the company private for a fair price. We urge the board to consider taking Ubisoft private with Tencent as a significant partner and shareholder. Ubisoft, as a public company, is under ongoing scrutiny to report better and better quarterly results to please investors, which may harm strategy going forward and is harmful to Ubisoft at this time, when they need to think long-term to get new air into their franchises, right? So we'll go on and read some more before some commentary, because you see that big, spooky, bold text at the bottom, all right? This will allow the company to address its issues away from the public market pressures and make necessary changes without harming minority shareholders, retail investors, and pension funds that are victims of these efficiency problems and mismanagement by current leadership. If Gilman and Tencent are not interested in Ubisoft's value, we urge the current management to not block any takeover, as there are several private equity groups that would be interested based on our research. In the event of an offer from a private investment group or strategic investor, we urge the Gilman family to accept this bid when this bid is a fair price, of course. Don't just take the first thing that comes through the door. If this offer won't be accepted, AJ Investments will sue for reimbursement of damages, meaning, the failure of Star Wars Outlaws, and most likely the not so great doing of Assassin's Creed Shadows. I wanted to call it Assassin's Creed Black Guy, but, it would probably be remembered as that, but because it's all anybody talks about with it. It's really sad when you get down to it, right? Take, for instance, there might be one or two people on this team that were genuinely interested in doing this as an actual tribute to Sengoku Japan. And then all the conversation around it is around how they destroyed Yasuke and destroyed Japanese culture. I mean, I feel bad for those one or two people. I don't think the whole team is, but I'll feel bad for those one or two people that are genuinely, they really wanted to try and do something worthwhile, and now they're straddled with this situation. But that's what he's talking about, are these damages. The money that would have been there had these projects either been executed properly or been shoved to the side for more market-ready franchises that are beloved by people, and not these wild ideas that Disney goes putting in Ubisoft's head. So this was the next requirement from AJ Investments. They want cost reduction and staff optimization. They want an implementation of comprehensive cost reduction programs and to optimize staffing levels to be more comparable with industry leaders. This will involve difficult decisions, but is necessary to ensure long-term viability and competitiveness. We are aware of the layoffs that Ubisoft has made in the recent years, which accounted to approximately 10% of cut of the workforce there, but that is simply not enough. We are aware that Ubisoft announced strategy to cut fixed cost by 150 million euro by 2024 and 200 million euro by 2025, but we still think this is not aggressive enough to stay competitive in the global landscape where Ubisoft operates. As part of this effort, Ubisoft should consider selling its studios, It's written in a little shorthand, corporate shorthand. So you'll have to excuse me. I have to fill in a little blanks to make it coherent. So, selling its studios that possess talent that are focused on their core games, thereby allowing Ubisoft to streamline operations and focus on its main IPs. So what it's this move will raise cash at Ubisoft and lower its debt and become more effective and efficient on a day-to-day basis. So inside of all that, there's a lot of information. We want to start from the top that caught my eye very first was that they've already cut 10% of what their workforce was at Ubisoft, let's say in 2020, all right? Now, this company, AJ Investments, is asking them to go, well, telling them rather, to go even harder with that. And it feels like they're suggesting like a 60% cut in the workforce. But also, let's take note that 150 million, to put this together, that is 350 million euros cut from how they're spending currently. And that's still not enough for this company, AJ Investments. They think it can be done even further. Now, add to that, too, they want talent that is in these studios, these people that are actually able to put out a product, not the people that are posing for pictures to make sure their fresh dye job finds its way into the history or documentary of the game or product or whatever they're working on. So he wants actual talented people put together on the main IPs, like the real focuses, not the stuff that's off to the side that's meant to be filler, I guess, stuff that they don't want to run as like major marketing campaigns that they just kind of want to let people know exist and then toss up on the App Store or whatever, This stuff wouldn't get a physical release, I guess, is what they're going on about. And we remember how they feel about physical releases now, don't we? But let's jump over here to another recommendation they have. These are the last two. They want them to focus on the core IPs. So they say concentrate resources and execution on the development of core IPs that have proven to generate the majority of Ubisoft's revenue. Titles like Rainbow Six Siege, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry. You hear that? There goes a guy on a Far Cry motorcycle. You miss that noise, right? Just ripping, roaring through the back, out the wild countryside on a Far Cry game. Just like that, some loud exhaust roaring in your surround sound headphones. Not at Ubisoft anymore. They don't want to do that. But, they want to do Watch Dogs too. Now, I defy you, okay? Go out. I'm sorry. I've noticed this recently. I hate to interrupt these guys. We'll get back to them in just a second. But I just want to sidebar for a second. Go watch some Watch Dogs. I'll get it right. Watch Dogs footage, right? Some gameplay footage. That became real life. I don't know if you've played or watched any Watch Dogs recently, but that became real life, or it's like this close to becoming real life. That very spooky, okay? That's very spooky. So if they wanted to put Watch Dogs 2020 out, right, and just screw with people with like the technology to screw with you like this has always been available. It's available right now, that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, man. That might do pretty well. A little mobile game where you fake hacking the people around you. I don't know. That's it's a little spooky how that game came to be real. But, and of course, you've got the Tom Clancy titles such as Splinter Cell, not Sprinkle Cell. We have Splinter Cell. Should be prioritized and cherished, okay? Ensuring they maintain their market-leading positions. Now, I don't like sequels. I want to stop right here again. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop right here again. I don't like sequels. I don't. I'm kind of bored of it. I think you are too. We were kind of sequeled to death. This is what Disney's doing, is they're just piling all their money into like number 5s, number 8s, number 4s, number 3s, and all these sequel movies they've got already. They don't want to take a risk on a new IP. But why not put together a team of specialized soldiers that deal with Black Ops assassinations, and they carry that out by crossing huge terrains in an otherwise alien landscape, and they have to hack their way in and use Tom Clancy style Ghost Recon's Sprintle, as it's written here, Splinter Cell tactics. Just combine all that stuff together, right? Give us the Assassin's Creed motif where they're sort of a clandestine group, and then the Rainbow Six thing where they're very highly technically advanced, they're very regimented, that kind of thing. So they're not only spooky, but they're also like, they got the bite to back up the bark, if you will. And then you take the Far Cry thing of being like out in the wildy wilder, no man around to stop you kind of space. And these guys have to deal with that. And you throw in the Watch Dogs hacking stuff, and of course the Tom Clancy Ghost Recon sort of sneaking around using the advanced technology in the night and in the daylight kind of stuff. Again, Rainbow Six and Tom Clancy kind of blend together because it is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. So either way, you take a minute and think about this, right? You consider what that would be. That might be an even more superior IP that they should be leaning into, but they won't. And this is their point. This is AJ Investment's point, is they don't believe that this is what Ubisoft is focusing on right now, or even on their minds. And to be honest with you, I agree. When was the last time you saw a Tom Clancy title come out, of any type whatsoever? I mean, we got a little bit of that concept art that they were going to put a wheelchair-bound operative in Rainbow Six. I think it was Rainbow Six, not the new Call of Duty, but I think it was a new Rainbow Six they're doing it in. And because that's what you need. You need the military to be everybody. I mean, I'm sorry. I understand there are people that are wheelchair bound that would like to serve this country in some capacity. But at some point, we need to recognize resource capability and what we're actually trying to do with a war. Are we trying to win the war, or are we trying to make sure that everybody gets a chance to play war? Again, I'm not trying to poop on anybody who thinks that they would be an asset in a combat scenario, but I just want to say, what are we trying to do in a combat scenario, even a simulation of that combat scenario? I know it's a video game. I got that. I know it's a fictional video game, and I know it's a fictional video game about fictional conflict. But at what point are we just tearing the mask off and saying, you know what, whatever, we're going to throw Sergeant Tubbums in too. You don't even have to meet a military fitness test to be an upright walking around soldier. And again, I'm not trying to diss anybody, but I think it's the height of stupidity, really, to go and suggest that this is a playable character even. And even an NPC in a combat scenario. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., kinda. Men in Black, kinda. But when it comes to, like, we're a imitation, a simulation of a real military group, I really think you're pushing the envelope too far with that inclusionary idea. And that's just one isolated incident. We saw what happened with Concord when they went full embracing all of this stuff at once. It's not there. The modern audience these people keep being led to believe is out there somewhere just don't play video games, apparently. They don't do much. They buy cat food, apparently, and that's about it. So we'll go on, though. They want to talk about management changes. Oh, by the way, if you think there are Ubisoft titles that they should bring back and give another try to, why don't you put them down in the comments? Because I'm not familiar with Ubisoft's entire library, but I'm sure they had some bangers outside of those 5 or 6. How many are there? 6. However many there. You know, I think they had more than that. So, you know, put your favorite down below, and, you know, if you've got an idea, I'm sure AJ Investments won't be checking the comments, but I will. I'll check them out. You know that. You see that in every bounding video. Let me know what your ideas on how to resurrect these old things are, you know? A Far Cry game in 2025, huh? About what's going on in not-so-happy USA. That might not be too bad. Not-so-happy Canada, you know? That might be pretty good. Who knows? Who knows what you get up to out there in the wild willy wax of North America, huh? Instead of some far-off tropical place you can't pronounce the name of. Huh? How about that? Let me know down below what you think and how you'd save it. Again, if you've got an idea on one of those older games that aren't part of this list too, let me know too. Because obviously AJ Investments isn't going to check this out, but I will. I'll tell you what, if we get enough of them, we'll go read them out and make a video out of it, right? We'll generate some AI art of what it might look like, and we'll put it up there. My best guess of what it would look like up there on the video, and we'll discuss the idea that you've presented in the comments, all right? If we get enough of them, okay? We'll do that. Because it can't be that hard. Look what happened with Concord. It can't be that hard to design game characters. Jeez. I'm kidding, all right? But again, we'll do a video about it if we get enough comments, okay? But let's get back to this traffic jam, all right? I've sidetracked all over the place. So they want management changes. They want to reevaluate the current management team and governance structure. It is crucial to have a leadership team that is capable of driving the company forward and delivering shareholder value. Consider hiring a new CEO who would run Ubisoft more efficiently, who has a proven record of running companies like Ubisoft. Obviously, an advisory on selecting this person would be needed from the Guillemot brothers because they are the current owners, legacy-wise. So this is the situation they find themselves in. And so this is what he wants to talk about in this now, right? This is how they're going to close out their letter. And I got to tell you, this is like walking in and like slamming your money down on the table and saying, take it or leave it. We're going to leave. We're going to take it and leave here if you don't change your mind, So here we go. We urge the board to consider our proposals seriously within the next 60 days and act in the best interest of the company and its shareholders. If we do not receive a reply, we will get together with other minority shareholders who share our views and make a bigger push against Ubisoft management according to the French minority shareholder laws. We are in contact with institutional and retail investors of Ubisoft to act together to increase the value for all shareholders. Our shareholder group has requested a meeting with the current management. Okay, they're serious. In 60 days, they're going to start issuing lawsuits. They're going to start pushing harder to vote on a new leadership. They've got all these other minority shareholders. So these are people that would be like under, I believe that would be under 6% ownership. I think that's what a minority shareholder is that they're under 6%. 10% is like, I think that's a majority shareholder at 10%. So, because again, like it's one of those things where like you're not buying 50% of a company. They don't do that. They only offer so much of it. But French and EU laws provide comprehensive framework for the protection of minority shareholders and the resolution of situations of abuse of dominant position by controlling shareholders. So what he's saying here is that there's laws inside of the EU that most likely the people that are the dominant shareholders, the majority shareholders, paid to have installed, but there are laws in place that allow for minor shareholders to pool their legal resources together, as in their legal right to challenge together, to create a shift, rather, a forced vote against what would be an overwhelming amount of majority control that would resist that vote. Meaning, again, let me tear it down a little smaller again. If these guys want to fight, the laws in the European Union say that they have to be allowed to fight, regardless if their ownership collectively does not match the majority's ownership that does not want to fight. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't exactly, in this case, I want it to happen because Ubisoft is in bad shape, but I don't know how I feel about that being practiced on, say, a company that's doing well, and there are people that want to destroy it, leveraging that kind of power. I just want to make it clear that it's a good idea in the moment, but I don't know how I feel about it, being something that we would embrace in the US. Currently, majority shareholders have majority control. And so they do as they please. Minority shareholders get to cash a check or pay the price. That's how it goes currently. I'm not sure that this is wise for us to embrace because, again, a bunch of minority shareholders get together and they can challenge a company that's doing well and drive it into the ground by issuing a new leader in a place that has no idea what they're doing. Maybe they'd be great at, like, cooking collard greens in a bathtub, though. Yeah. Why don't you Google that reference? It's a wild thing to find out about somebody, that they cook food for other people in a bathtub. As a minority shareholder, together with others, we will use all legal possibilities to achieve our goal. So AJ Investments has made it clear that within 60 days, there will be action taken against the current trajectory of Ubisoft. Now, I want to remind you guys, right, that Assassin's Creed Shadows doesn't come out until November. This means, right, that they can shift up the entire functionality of this company, the entire direction it's taking, right before this game comes out. And there could be a moment where, like, the new CEO is playing this game to test it out, to know what he's talking about, to promote it, and he goes, "We can't put this out." There could be a total, like, SpongeBob, everybody running around on fire scene going on at Assassin's Creed Shadows headquarters in Quebec, Canada, there, Montreal. They may find themselves in some hot water here if AJ Investments is successful in dethroning the Gilman brothers that currently run Ubisoft. That is quite something to be alive to witness. Not only the fall of a titan. I mean, we'll take you back over here to the stock price. Like, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing to see. I mean, I'm not proud to see, like, people lose their job. Don't get me wrong, but there comes a point where you have to be admitting that, like, whoops, I don't belong here. Like, don't hire me to build SpaceX rockets. I don't do good with math. I'm not so mathy, okay? I'm not so good at that. But guess what? You know, don't hire the Gilman brothers. Don't let them run the company if all they're interested in is satisfying a political edict. Okay? And that's what we've seen Ubisoft embrace by at least 10 years. At least. And it's time it stops. We've seen the destruction with Star Wars Outlaws, and we're seeing the coming tidal wave of oopsie that Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to give us. All right? And these are all easy fixes that they didn't have to do, but they insisted upon it because of the political edict, the message. You and I both know why Assassin's Creed is in the shape that it's in, and you and I both know why Ubisoft is in the shape that it's in. But until the next one, guys, you let me know what you think about this, your ideas about how to fix these franchises and the games that Ubisoft has forgotten about that otherwise would be pretty cool to see a rebirth of. Let me know down below. If we get enough of them together, we'll make a separate video with some AI art to talk about it. We'll see what happens. Good luck out there.